Hey guys, welcome to my channel. We're going to be talking about Enneagram Type 3, the achiever, the performer. We're going to be looking at a list of 20 statements, a checklist, a personality inventory that comes from this book, The Enneagram Made Easy. This is I should show you the other side of it. This is the book that I started with years ago, and it's just a great introductory book, and it's a fun list. I thought it'd be interesting to just kind of read over the list and see where it takes us today. No real grand plan here except just to talk about it and jump into this information. Before we get started, just a reminder, in the description below is a link to my website, tomlahue.com. I do offer Enneagram coaching for you and possibly as a couple if you want to work together with your partner. A lot of things can make sense when you understand each other's Enneagram type. How to get along with each other and have a better marriage. Also, I have a lot of classes available on demand and live classes on Zoom. Check that out. There's a class coming up soon in the middle of January here, and lots of books and free resources. So go to the store tab, check it out. All right, so let's jump into this information. Let's look at these 20 points and let's see how many of them resonate with you if you are a Type 3 or you have somebody in your family or somebody you're working with that's a 3. This might help you to understand a little bit better how a Type 3 is wired. To begin with, we might just remember that 3s are an assertive type. That means they go out into the world sort of future-oriented and trying to accomplish something and asserting their energy toward what is on their agenda. It can be hard sometimes to withdraw and take a break. If you're a Type 3, you might find that challenging because you could be productive right now. Okay, so let's look at this list. Number 1, I am almost always busy. Okay. Not bad. I mean, I'm busy too, and I don't like not being busy. But how do you feel if you do take time for yourself or you take time off? Or if somebody were to look over your calendar and see that you got a whole afternoon where you're not doing anything, where nothing's planned, where you're not being productive, you might feel a little bit embarrassed. Now remember, 3s are in the worth and value group, sometimes called the shame group. And although I wouldn't probably say that 3s would feel ashamed that they're taking a break and not being busy, but I would say that they probably would be more like embarrassed that other people might think that you're wasting time playing video games, riding a bike with no grand purpose, not pushing yourself, but wanting to be busy. Maybe ashamed of not being busy or not being productive. Number 2, I like to make to-do lists and progress charts to make schedules for myself. Progress charts. Now, I need a to-do list. I have to follow a to-do list. I'm a 7. I'm a little bit scatterbrained, a little ADHD-ish, and it's really good for me to have a to-do list that I try and follow, a calendar that I follow. I'd say it's essential. I don't like it. It feels like it's restrictive. I feel like it creates some anxiety for me, but Type 3s, following that to-do list. This gets really interesting. I was talking to a 3 the other day in a coaching appointment, and they keep a journal every day, not of what they're doing, but what they've done, what they've accomplished. I thought that was so interesting. They keep a journal, like seriously, like a leather-bound journal. They have like stacks of them, and they actually created pie charts every day to color code where their time went. So if they spent 3 hours in school, then that was in orange. If they spent 6 hours at work, then that was in green. If they, were learning some new skill, then that was in another color. And then they could step back every day and they could evaluate their productivity by looking at their journal. Just keeping track, not to turn it in for a grade, but just because they want to be able to track their productivity and track where their time is going so they can be more efficient and more effective. And I just thought, oh my goodness, I do not think this way. I probably should think a little more like that, but let's just stick with the to-do list. That's hard enough for most of us. Okay, number 3, I don't mind being asked to work overtime. 3s often do focus a lot of attention on work, on productivity, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, the rest of us probably need to be more focused on work. Probably type ones are very focused on work. But, I guess it's just, are you balanced? That's something that you might want to think about. Like health and balance often go together. Is your schedule balanced? Are you spending time, for example, in other things besides that little corner of work? Do you spend time learning? Do you spend time in hobbies and interests? Do you spend time building community and connecting with friends? Do you spend time, with family? And your spiritual health. So there's a lot of other things in life that are important beyond work. It's just I think work often gives you the feedback that you're looking for. Work gives you it's easier to see yourself being productive in that environment. It's hard to see yourself being productive, with family, um, or maybe even like yard work or chores. That it's hard to feel productive, like you're accomplishing something, like you're bettering yourself or bettering your environment. And so a lot of the attention of threes goes to work. And we just want to balance that. We just want to recognize that if that's your tendency to kind of like over focus on work, that you recognize that life is so much more than work. And what are you working for? I mean, you're working to provide for a family, you're working to provide for a living environment. We want to be focused on those things too, on those other things that are very meaningful in life. Okay, I have an optimistic attitude or a positive mental outlook. I'm a type 3, I'm a mindset coach. Positive mental outlook, which is great because I try to maintain a positive mental outlook. It can be hard sometimes, let's face it. You can get knocked down, you can get defeated, you can start to feel like a failure, you can wonder if you're making a difference. And I appreciate this about type threes, focused on setting goals, pushing themselves, positive mental outlook. I'm a lion, be a champion, be a fighter. A lot of that, that motivational music or motivational stuff that you go to the gym, you listen to, and it's, somebody like preaching at you with a beat behind it. That's all type 3 stuff, in my opinion. And I like that kind of thing. It's very motivational. It's very engaging. Challenge yourself. Don't be a sheep, be a lion. Okay, why am I going there? Positive mental outlook. Actually, what it says is I have an optimistic attitude. Look at that. From that optimistic attitude, I went all the way down that road of positive mental outlook, mindset coaching, mental toughness. Yeah, it's all good. Number 5, I go full force until I get a job done. And like 8s and 1s, I think. Full force until I get a job done. How do you deal with people that are like slowing you down? How do you deal with people that, have a lot of questions? I got a question. How do you deal with the people because there's always somebody on a team that like slows everything down. Either they don't take initiative themselves, or they got a lot of questions, or they got a lot of doubts, a lot of apprehension, or I'm just waiting for that email. How am I supposed to make a decision until I get an email? How do you deal with those people? Do they drive you crazy? Do you steamroll over those people? Do you navigate around them? What do you do when you've got somebody on your team that's just slowing everything down? Are you nice to them, or is it hard to be nice to them? There's always somebody on that team, that's slowing everything down. I go full force until I get a job done. Okay. And look, 9s integrate to 3, right? So 9s, it would be good if a lot of 9s could get a little more motivated to get their job done. And not just 9s, but 5s, the rest of us too. 7s, we all need some help. I'm not trying to pick on anybody. Number 6, I believe in doing things as expediently as possible. Expediently. I think of expediently, I think of like efficiency. Like you can just kind of see when things are not efficient. A lot of NTJs, INTJs, ENTJs, on Myers-Briggs are efficiency-minded people. And you can just see like when things are like stuck, they're in quicksand, we're not making progress. It's got to be very discouraging when you're an efficiency type and you just see like the whole system is bogged down. There's a lot of red tape. The software doesn't work right. So, can you slow down? Can you slow down at the speed of others? Or do, you get a little anxious, or do you get angry? Do you get frustrated? What do you get when things are not expedient? A lot of things are not expedient. Church services, they can be not expedient sometimes. I believe in doing things efficiently, effectively, expediently as possible. It's important for people to better themselves and live up to their potential. Good stuff, man. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I believe this stuff. I love this stuff. Um, you know, do we live up to our potential? Probably not. Probably very few of us do. And then if you do feel like you live up to your potential, in what arenas of life are you living up to your potential? Let me guess. Work, right? Self-improvement, physical fitness. But what about those other unseen areas of life that don't get maybe as much emphasis? That's part of what I want to do in this video is like just pull you back to realize, your friendships, your physical health. Physical health is very different than physical fitness. You could be very fit on the outside, but like destroying and damaging your organs because of all the, whatever it is you're taking to try to build muscle quickly. You could be damaging, your mental health. You could be damaging your physical health internally, trying to achieve some exterior level of fitness. I mean, notice like you might feel compelled to go to the gym when really you should go to bed. And listening to yourself might be a very important first step. Like, I want to go to the gym, but I need to go to bed. But notice you might feel that embarrassment or that shame if you skip your exercise, regiment, and you take a break and you give yourself a break. And it's amazing how disciplined you can be, like in what you eat and what you don't eat and where you spend your time. But then maybe not disciplined at all with how you talk to people, or not disciplined at all with what your eyes are watching or how you're engaging with other people. You may not be disciplined at all in those areas. It's just interesting. Okay. So it's important for people to better themselves. So yeah, and there's a little bit of shame in there, I think, of like, I don't want to be the sort of person, that is what? The normal American, fat, sick, and tired, getting divorced, not getting along with their spouse. I don't want to be that sort of person, that low frequency person. And so there's a little bit of judgmentalism there. Like, I don't want to be that sort of person that's just lazy, sitting on the couch, watching Netflix, playing video games, doesn't have an agenda for their life. I don't want to be that sort of person. And good. I'm not saying any of us should aspire to be less than we can be, but we should still love and realize that every person has worth and value, even if they don't live to the next level, even if they don't take the next level, or focus on the same things as being important that you're focused on. You might ask yourself, like, why do I need to work so hard? I know it sounds stupid, but why do I need to work so hard? Why do I need to push myself? What do I really get at the end of this? So, I become an athlete, I train, I push, I dig in, I win. What did you win? What did you really win? You won a trophy? You won a prize? You won recognition? You won admiration? Probably half the people aren't really giving you admiration. They're really just jealous and envious, and they want you to fail. What do you really get from all of this striving? It kind of sounds like the book of Ecclesiastes. If you've ever, read that or need to read that, what do you really get at the end of all this? What is all of this giving you? I see what you're doing. I see how you push yourself. I see your determination. I see your drive. I see your focus. What are you running away from? What is it you're running away from that's causing you to run after so desperately? What are you chasing? And I think the Enneagram is good for helping to bring this kind of thing to light. I don't get a lot of threes that work with me. I do get some, but I don't get a lot of threes because I think they're so ingrained. You can get so ingrained into your impulses that you look at the Enneagram or personality profile systems like this, whether it's Clifton, strengths finders, whether it's Myers-Briggs or DISC or Enneagram. You look at this kind of stuff like, okay, how does this help me leverage everything to get to the next level? How can this information help me? But see, I think it's about challenging. What is the next level for you? And why is that the next level? And why is it so important that you get there? What's wrong with you right now? See that? See the shame type? What's wrong with you right now? It's almost like, well, people wouldn't like me the way I am. I have to be this better version of myself. Have you given up on you as a person at the level you're at right now? Do you have to attain some higher level before you're worth having recognition or to be special? The worth and value types, 2, 3s, and 4s, there's a certain sadness about them because it's kind of like, well, nobody would accept me the way I am. So I have to be this new, improved version. I've got to be the sweet, kind 2. I've got to be the awesome, amazing champion 3. Or I've got to be unique, special, and different. I got to stand out. I can't fit in. And all 3 of them, it's very apparent that like, they're very clued in on comparing themselves with others and making sure that they achieve some kind of recognition, standing out in some way. It's just 3s are more obvious about it. They just stand out in the most obvious way. Be amazing. Go do amazing stuff. Go be fantastic. Become a CEO. Get a Harvard diploma. Lose weight. Be in health, perfect white teeth, beautiful hair, whatever it is, it's just kind of that obvious, become a CEO, get a BMW, drive a Mercedes, live in a big mansion. It's kind of like the script. People say America is a type 3 country, and it's just like up the next level, up the next level, up the next level. But that's my whole point is, at what point have you done enough? And if you don't feel like you'll ever do enough, then notice like there's something that's pushing you. There's something that's driving you. There's some story you're telling yourself that where you are right now and who you are right now is not enough. And then my only question is, when will it be enough? When? And you're exhausting yourself and maybe others in damaging relationships, chasing something that is unattainable, that is hard for you to even figure out and define. And I'm not saying stop all of this. I'm just saying, see it. Just see it. Just observe it. Just be aware of it. Just notice that this is going on. Notice what your default settings are. Notice your inner drive. And is it really always getting you what it promises? The roommate inside you that's telling you, it's not enough. You got to work harder. You haven't given enough. You're becoming a low frequency kind of person. You're becoming a slob. That roommate in you is pushing you in a direction that is not always going to lead you where you think it's going to lead you or give you what you think it's going to give you. That's what makes this so interesting. Recognizing that roommate, that inner voice, those impulses and compulsions. They work for you, so you start to trust them. But they also work against you at times. I'm not interested in talking about my personal life. Interesting. Yeah, what's going on there? I'm not interested in talking about my personal life. You can see where maybe some of the deceit might show up here. The sin of the 3 is deceit. So maybe you won't tell me honestly what's going on in your life. Everything's fine. Everything's great. No, me and Marcia have never been happier. Getting a divorce on Thursday. So maybe there's a little bit of deceit here that could come out. A little bit of guarded, a little bit of self-protective, afraid of being exposed. That maybe beneath the surface, things aren't always as admirable as they seem to be on the outside. Well, I guess all of us are a little bit like that. If you think about it like a speakeasy, right? So 3s, think about it like this. Like your life is a speakeasy. You remember what those are, right? Those are those bars when alcohol was outlawed. And so you had a speakeasy. You had this candy store. And everybody would walk into the candy store. And there was a guy out there, in a white outfit who was, selling candy. And all the kids were out there. And all the old people were buying candy for their grandkids. But then there's this door in the back, where you knock on it. You do a certain knock, A little window opens up, little eyeballs look out, and there's a whole nother section to this store that nobody knows about. And if you say the right password and you slip the guy the right amount of money, you can go into the back section of this store where guess what? There's a bar with alcohol, there's slot machines, there's gambling, there's girls, there's cigarettes, there's cigars. There's a whole nother world going on behind that second door. And I think all of us are a little bit like this. We have sort of the external us, like, how you doing today, Tom? Hey, everything's fine. Everything's great. Couldn't be better. Oh yeah, me and Marcia are getting along fine. It's kind of like this, everything's sweet out here. Everything's nice out here. Everything's candy out here. Everything's PG or G rated out here. But then there's this whole other section to our lives that we don't want anybody to know about, where things are not going so great, where maybe there's some adult kind of problems going on back there, and we don't really want to talk about that. We don't really want to deal with that. We don't really want to acknowledge that. And for some of us, I think the back room is bigger than the candy store, honestly. And it's getting hard to hide it. It's getting hard to hide our operation, and people are starting to figure out that something's not right. That there's, some shenanigans going on. And so we have to cover ourselves. We have to protect ourselves. We have to insulate ourselves. We have to guard ourselves. We have to work really hard at maintaining the image of the candy store, because if anybody finds out who I truly am or what's really going on behind door number 2, I could lose it all. And that's a really tough way to live. It's an exhausting way to live. Always guarded and self-protective. Where did I get that from? I'm not interested in talking about my personal life. Why? Why is that? Let's not move on yet. Why is that? Why are you not interested? I love talking about my personal life. Why is that such a problem? Is there embarrassing things going on? Stuff not going so well? Well, ignoring it and pretending like that's not the case isn't going to make it better. Avoiding it and pretending like your feelings don't matter isn't going to make things better. So we're going to have to slow down, and we're going to have to acknowledge these kinds of problems in life. All right, number 9. I try not to let illness stop me from doing anything. Is that you? You can't be sick. You can't let yourself be sick. And if you are sick, you go to work. It's just allergies. Just allergies. I got allergies. Meanwhile, you have like a fever. You have 102 fever. You're literally sweating, and it's 70 degrees outside. It's 60 degrees outside. 70 degrees inside, and you have allergies. I got allergies. I can't go home. Okay. Number 10, I hate to see jobs undone. I hate to see jobs undone. 11, I need to put work before other things. Again, notice how tied you might be to that arena that gives you the feedback, that helps you to see your progress, that helps you to see how you're growing. It helps you to see your development. And you don't get that with a family. You don't get that with 3 kids and a dog. You don't get to see your progress. But yet, what's more important than time invested with family? What's more important than time building community? I didn't say networking in order to back to getting ahead again. What do you get from getting ahead? What do you really get from it? Well, I get a paycheck. Okay, what are you going to buy with that? What do you need with all this money? What are you going to buy with all that? Happiness? Happiness? Listen to a 7. Look at me. Our whole thing is happiness, right? You're trying to be happy, but it's always delayed. You never have happiness right now because it's always just over this one hurdle. As soon as I accomplish this next objective, as soon as I learn this next skill, as soon as I make this next deal, as soon as I finish this marathon, then I'll be happy. No, you won't. You won't. You'll just move on to more goals, more goals, more goals. Do you know how to be happy? Do you know how to be happy? Is happiness a value that is important to you? Are you a happy person? If you're not, maybe you should make that more of a priority in your life. Being present, having joy, having peace, living in abundance, having contentment in your life. What if you didn't need whatever the next trophy is? What if you didn't need it? Then what would you focus your attention on? Ooh, blank stares. I don't know. What would I do then if I didn't need the next trophy? What would you do with your time? What would you do with all your energy? Where would you focus your attention? Would you start a hobby? Would you just start a hobby? Would you just start playing a guitar or, oil painting or hiking in the woods for no reason except that you enjoy it? Can you do that? Can you give yourself permission to do that sort of thing? To just be a person? To not be the best sort of person? To not feel the pressure to be the best sort of person, but just to be a person? To just listen to music because you like it, that kind of thing. But that's not productive. How am I going to put that in my chart? For 15 minutes, I just listened to music to enjoy that? That doesn't seem productive. Okay. Oh, where are we? Number 12, I can't understand people who are bored. Don't look at me when you say that. I never run out of things to do. Well, as a 7, boredom is a real problem. It's a real painful thing. So I can appreciate that. That's awesome. I don't run out of things to do either, but I run out of things I want to do. And then I'm stuck with all the things I don't want to do. And then, I want to avoid that. And I shouldn't avoid that. So I have to make myself do what I don't want to do. 13, it is sometimes difficult for me to get in touch with my feelings. I got you. I'm with you. I understand. 7, 9, and 3 are the avoidant types. We're not going to deal with that. Yeah, let's move away from that. I don't think I want to talk about that. All 3 of us have a hard time, really. Somebody says, I've got a problem. I want to talk to you about it. If it's like an emotional, personal thing, nah. All of us could kind of want to avoid that. Difficult to talk about my feelings. But you should. You probably should. You should probably find somebody that will listen to you and let you, sort of just express what's going on inside. That might be a really good step for you. Or to journal that. I didn't say journal your progress charts, but journal your feelings or talk about your feelings with somebody. It would be good for a 3 to get back into their feelings. You guys are separated from feelings. You're in the feeling group, but you're separated from those feelings. And it might be good for you to kind of come back to those feelings and remember, I really do love my kids. I really do love my kids. I really do love my home. I really do love, that might be good for you. Good cathartic moment for us all. Okay. I work very hard to take care of my family and provide for my family. That is one way to love them. Very good. That is one way to love them. Financial stability. Maybe even a little domestic support, but there's 8 other ways that you need to love them. But that's a good way. That's a really good way. Is it really for them? Is it about them? Or is it about someone else? Okay. I like identifying with competent groups and important people. The defense mechanisms of type 3s is identification, identifying yourself with a winning team, identifying yourself with, the traits of a celebrity or the traits of a lion or the traits of a fighter or the traits of a champion. So identification or identifying yourself with winners, being surrounded by winners, going to the gym with other big winners, or on the board with impressive, important people. Okay. I try to present myself well and make a good first impression. I would say definitely more 3-wing 2 than 3-wing 4. 3-wing 4, the professional, you're much more focused on competency and being seen as a competent, intelligent, articulate achiever. Where 3-wing 2s are much more concerned with being warm, friendly, engaging, positive outlook, meeting needs, taking care of people. That would be my guess. But impression, notice, key word, impression. Circle the word impression. Impression is not reality. It's perspective or perception. Okay. I try to present myself. Present, image management. How am I presenting myself? Again, 4s, 5s, some of the rest of us, we should work on this. We're not presenting ourselves well. We're presenting ourselves as distant, aloof, disinterested, detached. And so this is a great thing to be able to like be aware of how you're coming across or how you're presenting yourself. That's something that's very important. It's just remember that presentation is not the same thing as the genuine article. Remember, behind the speakeasy, behind that door, what's going on back there? That's the real you. This other presentation of you is the persona. It's the mask. It's a beautiful mask. You've done great building a beautiful mask. But I'd like to get to know the person behind the mask, and there's the deceit. You see, there's the deceit. There it is. Okay, good first impression. Number 17, financial security is extremely important to me. Okay? And maybe not even security, but financial status, which is very different. Financial status. Number 18, I generally feel pretty good about myself. Assertive type. Positive. You look great. You're wearing matching clothes. You're clean. You smell good. Positive mental outlook, and you should. I generally feel pretty good about myself. You've accomplished a lot. You've worked hard to get where you are. You should feel good about yourself. Number 19, people often look to me to run the show. So you have leadership potential, or you demonstrate leadership. Assertive type. You know where you're going. You know what the next level is. You're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. People line up behind you and follow you. You're charismatic. The cards just seem to lay out for you, and things go your way. And so people catch that, people see that, and they kind of line up behind you. You're the captain of the football team. Of course they do. Strong, self-determined, engaged, successful, attractive. Why wouldn't people follow you? Number 20, I like to stand out in some way. I like to stand out. I like to be special. I like to feel like, probably the magic moment is running across the end zone with the football, and the whole crowd stands and cheers and yells your name. Rudy, cheers for you. And that is admiration. We all need that. We all need admiration, appreciation, validation. We don't live in the Garden of Eden any longer. We're a little bit broken. And so we sometimes need that external voice to remind us of our worth and value. Great job. You did a great job. You knocked it out of the park. We're so proud of you. That is a very powerful motivator and something that all of us feel like we need. Some of us feel like we need that a lot more than others. And so standing out and being special, and maybe flipping that around, even making other people feel special, is probably something that you're very good at. But do you know, let's just end with this. You are special and important and valuable, no matter what you've accomplished, no matter what you've attained, no matter how much value you've added to the world. You are a person that matters just the way you are. You're created in the image of God, and you have value just because you exist, just because you are here. Think about a baby in a nursery. You don't pick up a baby and say, well, what have they accomplished? No, you just know that baby has intrinsic value simply because of their existence. And that doesn't go away because you're 20 or 30 years old. You matter, and what you do matters. And if I didn't think that, why would I make this channel? This channel is about coming alongside of you and just pointing out some things that might be blind spots that could take you down a dark road if you're not careful. Make you aware of these things so that you can decide, what do I really want to give my time, my attention? What do I really want to give my life to? What really matters to me? Time's running out. It's running out. You got how many more years left? 20, 30, 40? How many more years do you have left? You want to make sure that you really spend your time present to life, engaged in life, loving the people around you, enjoying life, enjoying your life, not always putting it off until the next hurdle, the next hurdle, the next hurdle. Engaged with life as it is. I love you guys. I'll see you next time. And as always, be present to life.